They shifted the focus, and they call that a benign neglect policy, which means that don't say anything mean about black folk, just pretend that they don't exist. And then they come up with this whole concept called post-racism and a colorblind society, and say the Constitution is colorblind. The Constitution was never colorblind. The Constitution was always very specific, saying you all are going to be slaves, and you all can be owners. The Constitution was never colorblind. And the American dream, what you hear about all the time, was based on anybody coming from Europe. They were advertising all over Europe, come to America, we give you free land and free labor. And they set up a franchising system to make sure anybody came to America can get free land and free labor. Black folk, again, were not in the system. They were underneath the system. They never got the free land. They never got free labor. They were the labor force. And so by the 1960s, when Moynihan's memo went out, blacks were an obsolete, abandoned labor class. Our black civil rights leaders bought into the concept of focusing now not on black folk, but on minority, women and children, people of color, multicultural, diversity, anything other than black folk. Now it's moved over to gay and transsexuals. Now I have the dubious honor again. I wrote the first affirmative action plan in the United States. I wrote that in 1970. I wrote it for the state of Florida, approved by Governor Askew and the state cabinet. I didn't write the affirmative action program for everybody. And if I were a white male right now, I'll be mad as hell, because the affirmative action plan was not written for everybody. It was written for black people. It was written for a very specific reason. It was written to be corrective action, correcting something that the government has systematically done to handicap, exploit, misuse, enslave, and beat up on a specific group of people and deny them access to resources. But the Moynihan memo, with a lot of our civil rights leaders supporting it, switched it away from black folk and switched it to everybody can now be called a minority and everybody entitled to the same benefits. If you're an immigrant that ran across the border last night, you're entitled to the benefits. That's not what it was designed for. Nobody, they use these broad, ambiguous terms. Minority. What is a minority? Nobody knows. Is that a one-legged man, a blind piano player? What's a minority? Nobody knows. Nobody knows what a minority is. Nobody knows what a people of color is. So when they moved into all these broad languages that you cannot measure, you can't identify, doesn't mean anything. And see, if I were a white male right now, I would go get into a minority program. You know why? Because the white male is one of the biggest minorities in the country. He's entitled to go into every minority program you got and get what he needs out of it.